Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama Sisters, Season 7, Episode 9, Three's a Crowd. Well, oh, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button, write a comment, join the conversation, and share because sharing is caring. And I am laughing because Zach is losing his mind, overly excited that he has twins. I did double shut barrel, put. Even Karen is not excited about it. I mean, she was like, oh, you're going to have, what did she say, double child support. And he's like excited because he did too. But you don't know how much work 2 kids take, Zach. And it's not like you're going to be there all the time. And if you plan on being there all the time, then you could plan on losing Fatima. That's all I got to say. Because then when he showed it to Fatima, he was hugging Karen and everything. And of course, every time Fatima rolls up in there, he got his hands on Karen, arms around Karen. It just looks kind of crazy. But Fatima kept staring at the daggone ultrasound. She couldn't take her head off of it. Because what was going through her mind was what was going through my mind. I'm out. Let me get on my sneakers and break out. I'm like, And he's like, baby, are you all right? Are you all right? And he's not paying attention he's not reading the room because Karen's not even that excited. Fatima's not that excited. The only person excited is Zach. Zach, you ain't got to push them babies out of you. So stop with all the excitement. And he don't even know if it's his. He's like, they both mine? She's like, I don't know yet. Oh, I don't care about that. I was like, dude. So Fatima got some work to do. She got some real thinking to do about this. Anyhow, Karen called her mama and said, please meet me at the shop. I need to talk to you. Zach is like trying to kiss Fatima by. She turned her head and left him there with his kiss in the air. I don't blame her. And she went to work. So now we have Karen calling all her girls and asking them to all come over to her house tonight around 6. It was weird because Sabrina, when she called her, was on the phone about to start talking about Karen to Maurice. Why are you talking about Karen to Maurice, Sabrina? That was just kind of like, we seen a little shady side of her or something. It's one thing she was talking about it to Danny, but to start talking about it to Maurice, who now is back together with his boyfriend and they're going to go out on a date because his boyfriend was in his feelings the other day because Maurice is doing that whole sexual thing online. Look, that's how you met him. Keep on moving if you can't handle it. Because if I was Maurice, I wouldn't drop what I was doing either for nobody else because that's putting money in your pocket and I don't need nobody trying to take care of me and then saying, I did this for you and did that for you. Anyhow, then we have Penelope going into Andy's office and Andy's telling her, I need to tell you some information. I had somebody digging up on Gary and you and your baby need to move far and far away from him. And I'm looking at her stomach got so much smaller now. So now she is smaller than Karen. And so it's just weird. They never even said, like, give us a new amount of months. Say she's 5 months now or something like that. Help us understand her smaller stomach than from season 6. You know what I mean, y'all? Anywho, Penelope tells her, you're scaring me. And she's like, what is it? She goes, it's not pretty. Oh, and nobody asked, was it pretty or cute or ugly? She just said, what the freak is it? I'm sorry. So she finally tells her that there's this young lady that went missing. It was Gary's high school sweetheart. They went to junior prom together and nobody has seen her ever since. They didn't have enough evidence to convict Gary, but they thought it was him. They interviewed all these people. And what Gary told them is they had an argument because she was drinking and stuff. And so she said she wasn't leaving with him. And then nobody ever saw her again. So she said there's more. Andy told her there's more. And Penelope's like, she is like, I don't understand. I can't believe nobody saw her leave. This is crazy, blah, blah, blah. So we went on with that. Then we go over to the salon. And over at the salon, we have Pam bothering Karen. Of course, she done took it upon herself to put her roots to riches supplies in the supply room. Karen is like, you put it in my supply room, and she's in there showing the people the supply. Why you on lines showing people what supplies somebody has? That's so real dumb. Anyway, then Karen's mother come in there. She asked her to come in the office. We got to see the office. It's very spacious. It's not the supply room like her other salon. It's an actual office. And she tells her mother about the twins, and her mother's excited. And Karen said she's still processing it, but Zach seemed to be excited. She said, oh, so they confirmed that he's the father. She said, no, not yet, but at least now he believes it. And I was like, oh, Lord, believing and being it is two different things. Anyhow, we have a scene now with Miss Marie coming to see coming to see Gary, and come to find out this woman doesn't even like Gary at all. The stuff that she said to him, I was like, oh my God. She told him he needs to get some plugins in here. It smells like death and deception. I thought that was funny. Then she dragged her fingers across there and said, you don't have, she said, I guess after you paid the rent, you ain't got enough for a cleaning crew. And he's saying, my apologies, a cleaning lady has been ill. And she was like, you are full of ish. I said, oh, she did not say that. She said, you have been ever since I met you. I said, so see, Miss Marie already know who he is. And she's like, why the freak did you drag me down here in this repulsive den of treachery? I'm sorry. Oh, I thought it was so funny. But she did let him know she would never invest with him again. Not her hard-earned money, especially after he made the Archer Foundation fund. He ruined it or something like that. And he said the Archer family was well aware of the risk. She said, but yeah, and somehow you survived the whole thing. He's trying to say it wasn't his fault. So she didn't want to, she's like, forget this small talk. Why am I here? So Gary's telling her that he heard that she's selecting Andrea Barnes to be her counsel for her divorce. And she's like, where'd you hear that? He said, I have my sources. And she's like, why is my choosing of counsel a concern of yours? And he said, it's not. But he said, I just wanted to warn you before you made a big mistake, because she's not suitable to your caliber of representation. And she's like, you know this firsthand? He's like, absolutely. So she was like, how do you know that? Don't keep me in suspense. I said, oh, snap. And he's like, she's untrustworthy and she's shady and lacks good judgment and amoral, promiscuous, all of this stuff. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah, she's sleeping with one of the partners at the firm. And I was like, oh my God. And then he said she was part of this big FBI investigation. And so Miss Marie is listening to this, and she said, you should know already that I don't do anything on a whim. I do my research first, Gary. And he's like, yes, I do know. And she's like, and I know that it is you who instigated that FBI investigation against Benson Jones and Leland. I said, oh, shoot. And she said, I also know that you bought Miss Barnes the penthouse and the Rolls Royce. She said, all I can say is Miss Barnes must know how to put it down in the bedroom. And Gary was like, oh, slut. She said, you sound like a bitter, rejected man. I was laughing. And now she's with that wonderful Councilman Jordan. He's like, oh, he's not that wonderful. She's like, put your feelings in your pocket, Gary. Jealousy's not a good look on you. I started laughing. And she's like, I'm not sure what you want to accomplish by telling me this, but all you did was confirm to me what I already knew about you. I said, oh, snap. And she got up and walked out on him. It was too funny. And she told him he's a small, narcissistic fish in a big, overachieving pond. And my suggestion to you is that you swim along before you get yourself hurt. I said, you better tell him, Miss Marie. Gary had to pick his face up off the floor, off the table, off of everywhere. I said, oh, that was a good scene. So now back to Andy and Penelope. And she's telling her, look, I think Gary's starting to unravel. I need for you to listen to what I'm saying. I got a plan for you to get away. I have a friend who could take you somewhere where Gary can't find you or the baby. She said, I need you to go home. She said, I need you to stay focused. Go home and start packing up stuff of yours little by little by little. I guess so he doesn't see everything gone. At least you'll have some of the clothes ready and gone, I guess she's trying to say. And Penelope's like, how could I miss the signs? How could you have missed the signs? And Andy gave her little explanation for it. Like sometimes we miss the red flags because we want what we want so much, or we love somebody so much, or whatever. But anyway, as they're talking, the phone rings and it's Gary calling her. And she's not answering. She's scared to answer it. And you see him in his office going, where are you, you bitch? You know, he's like Andy said, that fool is unraveling. So now all the girls are at Karen's house and she gives them the news about the twins and they're all excited except Danny. Danny's just like, oh, she thought it was like, oh, it's not Zach's, you know, or whatever she thought the news was. But because she doesn't care much about babies, she wasn't so into it, I guess. I don't know. So in the midst of all this excitement, Sabrina get a text from Rich. She got to pick him up for their date because his car got towed. And so she has to take Danny with her. And Danny leaves out saying, oh, congratulations. It could have been a text. I thought Danny was rude. I thought that was rude for her to say that. And as far as that dress she had on, where her titties are about to fall out of it, I think she needed something more. I know they're trying to allow Danny to wear clothes now, but the titties hanging out like that, looking like, what's her name on Zatima? Oh, what's the friend's name on Zatima? How did I forget? But y'all know who I'm talking about. Angela, that's her name, Angela. But all them titties hanging out, wear something that's not so much. Cleavage is good, but if Danny sneezed, the titties will fall out of the dress, I think. That's all I'm saying. Anyhow, Sabrina was doing all the rubbing on the stomach, and I'm going to be an auntie for two. Oh, it's going to be three of y'all, and blah, 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 blah. And Andy kissed her bye and everything, and you know, but Karen, at least Karen has warmed up to it now, and she's feeling a little bit better about having twins. So now we have Fatima trying to talk to Zach about what's going on. Zach is online Googling baby this and baby that and all excited. Don't know if it's his kid, but he's just thrilled and delighted about everything. And she's like, we need to talk about it. He's like, what? I told you I got it. She's like, what are you talking about? There's 3 babies now. You know, I'm in law school. He said, I told you. You worried about nothing. I got this. I'm like, Zach, how you got it? Because you have to go to work too. You have to pull your weight around there. That money might not be around forever, you know, but he's not paying attention. He's doing the same thing he did when they got Michael, you know, and you accepted thinking some woman is just supposed to sit there and accept all of your baby mama babies. You know what I mean? Anyhow, she walks upstairs and he's like, oh, you walking away? We doing this again? Well, because you're not listening. That's what's happening. Now we got this quick scene with Maurice and Grayson, and they're having dinner and having a nice little night. Maurice done cooked and they looking like a real nice couple. But of course, Grayson has this concern about Maurice keeping up his fixation page because he's just thinking long term. He likes the way their relationship is going, and he's not sure he would be comfortable giving so much of himself to the public while keeping that page. And Maurice didn't like the way that sounded. It sounded like he's from the street, and he said he's not from the street, and yada, 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 back and forth. But, Grayson was like, I'm not trying to judge you or anything like that. And Maurice said, I didn't even think long term. I never thought long term, but this is good money. It keeps my lights on and stuff. Then he admitted he got about 6 months of rent saved up. And I was like, what? Because y'all know Maurice will always seem to be broke. And Grace was like, damn, it pays like that. Maybe you need to keep up doing that. But he did say he's waiting for his friend to get this job, managing job at the bank, so he could get his old job back. So maybe he can, look for something more permanent and stuff like that. Boy, don't be giving up nothing and changing nothing for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You need to be married, okay? A date set. We're not giving up nothing until all of that is done. Anyway, then we have Fatima showing up at the steam plant. I think that was the steam plant. I guess she went out to get her a drink and she saw Danny sitting there by herself. She's like, Danny, what you doing here? And Danny's talking about, trying to get things cleared in her head about her man showing up, with kids. All of a sudden he got kids that's going to stay with them. She don't even know if she like kids or not or anything like that. And Fatima asked her, did she speak to Krisha about it? And she said she did. And she told her to stay on focus and on point with her relationship. And Fatima was like, maybe I need to talk to Krisha too, with Zach and all his babies. And she said, oh, yeah, Karen told us about the twins, So he said, it's not like I don't love Zach. I do, but it's sometimes I feel like he doesn't consider my feelings when these things come. So, like I said, they're giggling and realizing that they have things in common. And Danny said, yeah. She said, we're both dating sperm banks. And so they're laughing. And Fatima's like, that's right, right? But there was one thing that Danny told Fatima is to make sure that Zach validates her feelings because they are valuable. And he should at least acknowledge how she feels. And I said, look at Danny growing up giving good advice. Go ahead, girl. And then Fatima told her she should be honest with Tony and tell him how she really feels and how these kids are going to change things between them. And Danny said, which is something he has not talked to me about. But he really should have. And that's why I have a problem with Tony. Now, at this moment, that's when Sabrina comes in with Rich and Tony in tow. And she's like, hey, Fatima. And she introduces Fatima to the guys. And they say, nice to meet you. And she said, would you like to join us? And Fatima's like, no, I got to go. And she bounced. So now they switch over to this scene where Gary and Hudson, and he's like, we got to get this thing straightened out with this FBI investigation. The investors are up my butt and we're bleeding like crazy. And Hudson's telling him it doesn't look good. He said on top of embezzlement charges, there's conspiracy to commit mail fraud, wire fraud, and bank fraud. I said, damn, what in the world is Gary doing? So they switch back over to the scene at the steam plant with the four of them at the table, Sabrina, Danny, Tony, and Rich. And I am laughing because Sabrina and Tony are talking about kids this, da 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 da. Oh, and this, you got pictures and da 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 da. Oh, they're so gorgeous, they're so cute. Oh my God. Meanwhile, Rich and Danny are sitting there like, oh boy, they looking at each other, they looking at both of them talking and da 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 da. And they drinking their drinks because they are not interested in having kids. The wrong two people are together, if you ask me. The wrong two people are together. And then it got to the point where Rich goes, so Danny, how was your day? How was it? Oh, thanks for asking. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, we sorry. We got carried away with the kids. Talking about, oh, that's Tony Jr. and that's my little princess and blah, 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 all of that stuff. So he said, oh, Sabrina, I didn't ask you how your day was. I meant to. I know I was boring you in the car about my car, and he asked her how her day was, and she said, well, I had really good news today. I thought she was going to start talking about that the thing she was having with freezing her eggs. That's what I thought she was going. But she said, no, our friend just told us the good news. She's having twins. And it was like, oh, cheers to twins. And still, read the room, Sabrina, read the room. Danny and Rich don't give a blippity bloop about it. Stop it already. Let it go. I'm just like, oh my God. So now we got Fatima's back home. She wakes up Zach off the couch. She sits down and apologizes for storming out and leaving. But she told him she feels like he doesn't consider her feelings. He doesn't listen to her. And she said, this past year we had a whirlwind of things happening. And it's just a lot. And he's like, you're right. She said, you're so happy and gung-ho about these twins. And you don't even know if they're yours, though. He said, I know, you're right. I jumped the gun. I should have been paying attention. My bad. That is definitely on me. I have to do better. He admitted that he was wrong. And she said, we have to really communicate better. And that includes listening and considering each other's feelings. And he was like, you're right. I got you. Then he put up his left hand, talking about I, Zacharias Taylor, do solemnly swear to consider Fatima's Maximus feelings at any and all times to the republic of which it stands till death do us part, because she be killing people and I don't want to die. She's like, yeah, that's good. She said, I love you. They both said they love you and they hugged and that was nice. She told him he get on her nerves, but he said, but I'm serious though. I'm sorry. And that's what I love, that they made up. And the last thing he said to her, if she ever leaves the house like that again, there will be consequences and repercussions. She said, yeah, okay. It was cute. So back to the steam plant. We got them sitting at the table. We find out that Tony's auntie has his kids, and she said if they give her enough time, she'll keep them overnight. So Danny's like, what did you tell him? He said, what do you want me to tell her? She said, whatever you want. So he must have told her that he want the auntie that he wanted her to keep his kids because he ended up back at Danny's house, and Danny was telling Sabrina when Rich had stepped out to talk to his mechanic, he came. She was telling her to she need to get out of her head and just give give Rich some ass or something like that. She said or whatever. So basically, when he came back, Sabrina said, "Oh, so why don't you just come over and then I'll take you to get your car in the morning?" And he said he likes the way that sounds. So I guess he went home with her too. And then it ended with damn Gary, and he told Hudson that that thing didn't work out with Miss Marie, but he's like, "You got other things in your pockets, you know, whatever." And they were watching the news and found out that that girl who he hired to lie on Jordan, she admitted that she fabricated the whole thing, but they don't know why she did. And that Jordan Williams is back, you know, running his campaign. And Gary got mad and picked up his laptop and banged it on the table, broke it. And Hudson was like, I guess I'll get you another laptop. He's like, so. And then Gary's like, you know, he's getting up and he's walking around like Andy said, he's unraveling. He's really unraveling. He's like all these nosy biatches in my business. Andy, Penelope, you're the one who brought them into your life. They didn't ask to be a part of it. You did. And he's blaming Andy for stuff like how she know. Hudson's like, how would she know what Miss Marie knows? You know, because he's like, how does Miss Marie know that stuff? Andy didn't know Miss Marie knew that stuff. You know, so he's blaming everybody who he brought into his life, into this world of his craziness and narcissistic behavior, you know. Anyway, he's saying how this girl could be a problem for them. And he's so stuck on destroying Jordan. Jordan did nothing to him. You and Jordan were friends at first, but because Jordan is with Andy is the only reason he has a problem. But Hudson seemed to have been defending Andy. She has no idea of all of this stuff that we're doing anyway. You know, she doesn't have the range to go into what, you know, what we're working on. Somebody just probably forced the girl to recant her story or whatever. So like I said, Gary's saying because that girl could cause them a problem, they need to take her out. Now, he said they need to take her out, but I'm thinking he's talking about that girl, not about Andy, not about Penelope. I really think he's talking about that girl because she's the only one that could be a problem for them. But then he thinks Andy could be a problem because that's why he keeps talking about Andy, 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 because he is so stuck on her. Anyhow, that's how it ended, y'all. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. And please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.